This is a big moment, because if this works, I'm going to get to drive this car and we're going to drive into Europe, which is what I've wanted to do the whole time since owning this car. Driving this into Europe is going to be a dream.
A guy who publicly threatened to 3D print parts for a $4 million Bugatti just walked straight up to the CEO who blacklisted his car. No script, no PR handler, just a phone camera and 9 months of internet drama about to collide in real life. Let's rewind, because you cannot understand this confrontation without understanding the fight that came before it. Back in November last year, a Florida-based finance influencer named Alex Gonzalez, known online as FSE Salix G, crashed his purple Bugatti Chiron Per Sport. This is not a common car. Only 60 of these two-seater hypercars were ever built, and they sold for upwards of $3.6 million. The crash was bad. The front end suffered significant damage, the airbags deployed, and the carbon fiber structure showed visible cracks. Gonzalez's insurance company declared it a total loss and shipped it off to a salvage auction. Most people would have let it go. Gonzalez bought the wreck back from Copart instead, determined to bring it back to life. That is where things got ugly. Bugatti responded to the crash by locking the car's VIN, which meant no dealership on earth could sell parts for an independent repair. This is standard practice for a hypercar with a potentially compromised monocoque, because a structural repair done wrong on a car with over 1,500 horsepower is not a cosmetic risk. It is a lethal one. But Gonzalez did not see it that way. He saw a blacklist. And instead of going through official channels quietly, he posted an ultimatum on social media, giving Bugatti 24 hours to unblock the car, or he would 3D print every part himself. Here is the moment this story stopped being a normal customer complaint and became genuine internet drama. Most manufacturers ignore ultimatums like that. Bugatti's CEO, Rimac, did not. Within that 24-hour window, Rimac personally slid into Gonzalez's Instagram DMs. The opening line, according to screenshots Gonzalez later shared, was almost disarmingly casual. Something like, "Hey man, Bugatti CEO here." Then Rimac got serious fast, explaining that the gearbox and the carbon monocoque were probably damaged, and that those specific components simply cannot be safely 3D printed at home, and neither can the lights or the body panels. But he did not stop at telling Gonzalez no. He also offered to help find the most cost-efficient, legitimate repair path, and the car was reportedly removed from the blacklist shortly after. So why didn't this just end there, quietly, like Rimac probably hoped it would? Because the drama had already found a second main character. Enter Matt Armstrong, the well-known car mechanic and YouTuber, who ended up taking on pieces of this rebuild and publicly clashing with Bugatti's official position that the car could only be properly fixed at the Molsheim factory in France. Rimac went on social media himself at one point, stating plainly that a lot of what people were hearing online about Bugatti service and repair costs was simply not true. He reiterated that the transmission split required specialized facilities, of which he said only 2 exist in the world. Armstrong and his team found a workaround anyway, pulling the gearbox apart with the right bolts and patience. Rimac, according to multiple reports, was reportedly watching the whole rebuild unfold online, which tells you everything about how closely this story was being tracked at the highest level of one of the most exclusive car companies on the planet. Now here is the part that actually matters for this video, because DMs and Instagram statements are one thing. A face-to-face is a completely different animal. Fast forward to Monterey Car Week just this month, one of the most important weeks on the entire automotive calendar. Bugatti chose this exact moment to unveil the Destrier, its latest one of one hypercar under the ultra-exclusive program Solitaire. A car built for a single customer using the bolide's extreme track, focused underpinnings, reshaped into something more sculptural. The unveiling happened at the Quail, a motorsports gathering in front of international media, collectors, and guests, with Rimac himself introducing the car alongside design director Frank Hale. And there, in that exact setting, packed with cameras and industry insiders, Alex Gonzalez walked up to Rimac in person. No moderator, no scheduled interview, no PR team standing between them. Just the guy who very publicly threatened to 3D print his way around Bugatti's engineering, standing across from the CEO who told him flatly that he could not. By most accounts of the exchange, it was surprisingly civil. Gonzalez has been characterized as almost apologetic in tone, acknowledging the CEO directly rather than continuing the confrontational posture from his earlier posts. Rimac, for his part, reacted the way he has handled this entire saga from day one, engaged, calm, and seemingly unbothered by being approached in public by someone he had very publicly disagreed with online. Here is my actual take on why this moment matters more than a 30-second viral clip. This was never really about 3D printers or gearboxes. It was a live test of something the entire supercar industry has been nervously watching unfold, which is what happens when ultra-wealthy influencers with millions of followers start treating hypercar ownership disputes like content instead of private business between a customer and a manufacturer. A decade ago, a dispute like this stays inside a service department in Molsheim, and nobody outside a small circle of collectors ever hears about it. Now it plays out in Instagram DMs, YouTube rebuild series, and eventually a face-to-face at Pebble Beach with cameras rolling. Remac's choice to personally engage rather than let lawyers or a PR statement handle it is exactly why Bugatti came out of this looking remarkably good despite the initial confrontation. He turned a potential public relations disaster into a story about a hands-on billionaire CEO who still answers his own messages. But let's not pretend Gonzalez comes out of this clean either. His original 3D printing threat was frankly reckless bravado dressed up as a right-to-repair argument. Nobody, including independent automotive engineers who have weighed in on this saga, seriously believes a home garage should be 3D printing load-bearing gearbox components for a 1,600 horsepower hypercar. That is not consumer rights. That is a lawsuit waiting to happen, or worse. What actually saved this story from being a cautionary tale about influencer recklessness is that Rimac offered a real compromise, and Gonzalez, to his credit, walked it back and worked within the system instead of doubling down for clicks. It's also worth asking what this saga reveals about Bugatti as a brand under Rimac's leadership, compared to the more traditional, buttoned-up hypercar makers around it. Ferrari and Lamborghini rarely, if ever, let a CEO personally step into a public spat with an individual customer online. Rimac has done it more than once, and each time it has generated more goodwill than backlash, largely because he leads with technical explanation rather than corporate deflection. When he told Gonzalez the monocoque and gearbox could not be safely reproduced at home, he was not hiding behind legal language. He was teaching a genuine engineering lesson to an audience of millions who would otherwise never hear it. That is a subtle but real shift in how a legacy hypercar brand can build trust in the social media era. So where does this actually leave the relationship between manufacturers and the influencer economy that increasingly surrounds them? I think this confrontation, brief and civil as it apparently was, sets a template other automakers are going to study closely. Ignore the ultimatum and risk a viral pile on questioning your customer service. Engage personally like Rimac did, and you risk normalizing the idea that any owner with a large enough following can bypass normal service channels with a public post. There is no clean answer here, and that tension is exactly why this story kept escalating for 9 straight months instead of dying quietly after the first DM. Whatever you think of how it started, the ending in front of the Destrier at Monterey Car Week is a genuinely rare thing in this industry. A billionaire CEO and the influencer who publicly challenged him, standing in the same frame, talking like normal people. Whether that becomes the new normal for how supercar brands handle their loudest customers, or whether Bugatti just got lucky with a CEO who happens to enjoy this kind of engagement, is still an open question. Let me know in the comments whether you think Rimac handled this the right way from the very first DM, and subscribe if you want to see where the actual Chiron rebuild ends up next.